Okay, so we've all seen the headlines recently, right?
Mm.
The news about Kim Kardashian and just the profound grief she's expressed over the passing of her lifelong friend, Lindsay from cancer.
Yeah, it's been quite prominent.
And, on the surface, it might seem like, okay, another celebrity story.
Hmm.
But if we actually dig a bit deeper, it feels like it offers this really powerful lens into something much more universal.
Absolutely. It's about those really deep foundational friendships that honestly shape all of us.
Exactly.
It's a striking reminder, isn't it, that no matter how famous or successful you are, we all rely on those deep connections. This very public display of grief for a childhood friend, it's not just, a headline.
Mhm.
It really underscores how that social capital, the kind you build over decades, can be just as vital as, say, financial success, especially when you're facing something as profound as loss.
And for our deep dive today, we're mainly looking at an article by Gabrielle Chung. It's titled, Kim Kardashian's Life or Friend Lindsay Dies After Cancer Battle, published June 27th, 2025. That's our main source here.
Right.
So our mission today really is to unpack the significance of this relationship. Beyond just the headlines. We want to explore this whole concept of lifer friendships.
Those steadfast connections.
Those ones that really ground you. And also the impact of loss, obviously, and the role community plays, especially in a world that feels like it's constantly changing.
It's about why these bonds matter so much, particularly, I think, when life gets incredibly busy, or like in this case, it's lived under that intense public scrutiny.
Yeah, it's understanding not just the facts, but why these connections are so fundamental to our well-being, how they sort of act as anchors when things get turbulent.
Exactly. Anchors is a good word for it.
Okay, so let's start with the heartbreaking news itself. The article confirms Lindsay passed away after battling a rare form of cancer. And Kim Kardashian shared this news herself. It was on her Instagram story back on June 17th.
Right. And Lindsay, she was an entertainment consultant. But the key detail, like you mentioned earlier, is that she'd known Kim since they were kids.
Yeah, that childhood connection.
That's the core of it. That history predates all the fame, the public persona. And it's interesting, while Kim confirmed it publicly on June 17th,
Yeah.
it's worth noting Lindsay actually passed away much earlier, November 2nd. That detail came out in an earlier Instagram tribute from their mutual friend, Simone Harouche.
Oh, wow. So there was quite a gap.
Yeah, there's often that lag, isn't there, between the private experience of loss and the public acknowledgement, especially for figures like Kim.
And it's this really deep-rooted history going all the way back to childhood that Kim herself uses that term for lifers. What does that concept, lifers, really tell us about these bonds, especially compared to maybe more, transient relationships in the celebrity world?
That's a great question because lifers, it's not just about how long you've known someone.
Right.
It speaks to a specific quality of connection. For someone constantly in the public eye, these childhood friends, they're often the keepers of your, let's say, pre-fame identity.
Okay, like a baseline self.
Exactly. They can offer unfiltered feedback, maybe, a safe space away from the more performative aspects of a public career. They're a consistent reference point when everything else is shifting around you. And the article actually lists some of the other known members of this core group. There's Allison Statter, who's CEO of Blended Strategy Group.
Okay.
Sarah Meyer Michelson, she founded Row Caviar. Ashley Kassan, a yoga teacher. And Zoe Winkler, Henry Winkler's daughter.
Wow. So it's a group of accomplished people in their own right, but they share this really profound grounding history with Kim.
Precisely. And it's telling, isn't it, how often this group has actually shown up on Kim's reality show, The Kardashians.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It suggests that even in that highly curated world, these genuine, long-standing friendships are seen as, essential to her life.
Right. And Kim's been quite open about prioritizing them. She apparently said something like, I'm so busy and I have so much on my plate, but I have to take a breather and just have dinner with my lifers.
Making that deliberate time.
Yeah. Because we love getting together and telling each other big news.
Yeah.
It really points to intention, doesn't it? For someone with her schedule, making time isn't just a nice to have.
No, it's a choice.
Yeah.
It highlights their value.
Exactly. And she talks about the comfort they provide, that consistency. She said, it's so comforting to have the same friends that I did and just to see where we're at, but that none of us have changed. We all are literally family.
That idea of none of us have changed, even though circumstances obviously have, that's powerful.
It's that shared past, that unchanging core of the relationship, that really becomes a powerful anchor, like we said, in a world that changes so fast.
You can really feel the stability that kind of connection offers.
Yeah.
And When a bond like that is broken by loss, the shared grief must be immense. And that's often when you see the power of that community really come through.
Definitely.
Let's look at that Instagram tribute you mentioned from Simone Harouche, their mutual friend, back in January. It was incredibly poignant. Simone wrote, "My world stopped on November 2nd. Yeah. You took a little of me with you, but thank God I took some of you." Then she mentioned, "A beautiful sunset took on a whole new meaning," and she reminisced about their youth, saying, "The 90s were fucking fun."
Yeah, that line about the 90s, it sort of jumps out, doesn't it? Even in that deep grief, remembering those shared, maybe lighter moments from the past, it offers a different kind of comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Simone's post really captures that dual nature of loss, the part that's taken from you and the part of the person that stays with you, and just the slow, kind of disorienting process of grief.
Yeah.
But what really struck me was her realization about the power of community. Very cliche, but very true. She actually wrote that.
Right. Acknowledging the cliche, but affirming the truth.
Exactly, because it's precisely in these moments, these times of profound loss, that we lean hardest on those consistent connections. It's just a fundamental human truth, isn't it? Our bonds strengthen us collectively.
And you saw the ripple effect of that raw emotion.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian commented publicly on Simone's post. She said, "I felt this so deep."
Mm-hmm.
And her sister, Kourtney Kardashian, also responded saying, "This made me cry. I love you." It really shows how one person expressing grief so openly within that tight group resonates, It touches others who shared that same bond.
It's a really clear example of grief working collectively within a close-knit group. And importantly, this community support went beyond just emotional tributes.
Okay.
The article talks about the Lindsay fundraiser. It's an ongoing thing where Simone Harouche partnered with Citizens of Humanity, the clothing brand.
Right, so that they're selling jeans.
Yeah. And $50 from each pair sold goes directly to a neuroendocrine tumor research foundation. It specifically honors Lindsay's battle, as she had a rare form of cancer.
So it's channeling that grief into action.
Exactly. It's not just about remembering, it's about taking that intense emotion and turning it into something tangible, supporting a cause directly linked to their friend's struggle, and that itself can be a really important part of the healing process for everyone involved.
That makes sense. It provides focus, a way to contribute.
Yeah, a positive outlet.
So when we look at all of this whole deep dive, what does it really make you think about regarding the connections you prioritize in your own life? As a listener, you know.
Well, I think in a world that feels like it's constantly changing and maybe often celebrates connections that are more fleeting, these enduring bonds, these lifer friendships, and the way that community rallies in times of loss, it really reminds us of what truly grounds us. This story kind of prompts us to consider the profound value of those relationships that really do stand the test of time, regardless of what life throws at us.
And maybe the crucial follow-up question is, how do you actively nurture those connections?
Yeah.
Against the constant pull of everyday demands and busyness.
Right. It's work. It requires that intention we talked about.
It really is a powerful reminder, isn't it? That while the world is rushing forward, those deep, consistent relationships, they're often the anchors that really hold us steady.
Couldn't agree more. They're fundamentally important.